The click of the safe's lock echoed like a gunshot in the dim study. And there they were, dozens of Polaroids spilling out, each capturing me in my most vulnerable moments, eyes closed in sleep, unaware of the camera's gaze. My father had been dead 3 days, his heart giving out mid-sentence during our last dinner, leaving me to sort his affairs alone in the house that now felt like a stranger's tomb. I was 25, the only child, raised by a man who'd been both my world and my mystery, distant yet devoted, always watching from the shadows. But these photos? They turned his love into something sinister, a voyeuristic archive that made my skin crawl and my heart pound with questions I never wanted to ask. Dad, William Ellis, had been a quiet engineer, tinkering in his workshop late nights, emerging with smiles and small gifts. A handmade bracelet for my 8th birthday, a telescope for stargazing when I couldn't sleep. After Mom left when I was 5, citing his obsessions, he became everything: cook, confidant, guardian. We lived simply in that creaky Victorian on Elm Street, routines like clockwork. School, dinner, bedtime stories, until I was too old for them. He never dated, never spoke of her. "It's just us, Sophie," he'd say, ruffling my hair. I trusted that. But now, kneeling before the safe he'd hidden behind a false panel in his desk, combination my birth date, a final irony. The images mocked me. Me at 10, curled in my childhood bed. At 16, post-breakup tears drying on my pillow. Even last year, after college graduation, asleep on the couch. Stamped dates, meticulous labels. Sophie, safe and sound. Nausea rose as I gathered them, hands shaking. Had he been creeping into my room all these years? A predator in plain sight? I slammed the safe shut, photos clutched like evidence, and called my aunt, Dad's sister Lena, the only family left. "Come over," I choked out. She arrived an hour later, her face crumpling as I spread them on the coffee table. "Oh God, Sophie, this isn't him." But her eyes darted away, and I caught the lie. "You knew?" She hesitated, then nodded. "Not like this. He was protective after your mom." "Protective?" I pressed, voice rising. "He stalked me," Lena sighed, sinking into the armchair. "Your mother didn't just leave. She took something. Secrets. He watched to keep you safe." "Safe from what?" She clammed up, promising to explain later, but left with a hug that felt like goodbye. That night, alone again, the house groaned like it mourned with me. I couldn't sleep, ironic given the photos. Instead, I scoured Dad's things. Journals filled with engineering sketches but interspersed with notes on watchers. Vague entries about eyes on the house, shadows at the window. Paranoia or truth? One photo slipped from the stack. Not me, but Mom, asleep in what looked like a hospital bed, dated months before she left. Bruises on her arm, fear in her slack face. My stomach twisted. What had he hidden? The phone rang at midnight. Unknown number. A woman's voice hushed. "Sophie, don't trust the photos. They're not what they seem." Click. Heart racing, I bolted the doors, the walls closing in. Who was she? And what nightmare had Dad locked away? Before we continue, we would like to thank all of you who support us by subscribing, liking, and sharing our content. The only appreciation we ask of you is that you subscribe, like, and share this video if you are not yet one of our subscribers. Thank you. Dawn broke gray and unforgiving. I drove to Lena's, demanding answers. She met me on the porch, coffee trembling in her hand. "Your father," he was scared. Turns out Mom hadn't abandoned us for a lover or wanderlust. She'd fled an abusive ex from her past, a man named Marcus Reed, who'd stalked her for years before they met Dad. When I was born, Marcus resurfaced, sending threats, watching from afar. Dad installed cameras, not in my room but outside, monitoring the perimeter. The sleep photos? Staged composites. Dad's way of documenting peaceful nights to prove to himself we were safe, a ritual born of terror. But why hide them? "He didn't want you to know the danger," Lena said. "Marcus is still out there." Doubt warred with relief, protective, not perverted. But the intimacy of those images lingered, a violation nonetheless. I returned home, rifling deeper, found a hidden drawer with letters from Mom. "William, destroy the evidence. Marcus will use it against us." Evidence of what? A final photo, me as a toddler, asleep, but with a shadowy figure in the window behind. Time-stamped the day Mom left. Chills raced. Dad had captured the stalker himself. But if Marcus was real, why no police? The phone rang again, same voice. "Meet me at the old mill, come alone." Trap or truth? I grabbed the photos, keys in hand, pulse thundering. Whatever waited, I couldn't hide anymore. The old mill loomed on the outskirts, rusted skeleton against the stormy sky, wind whistling through broken windows like ghosts. I parked, photos tucked in my coat, every sense screaming danger. The woman waited inside, mid-40s, sharp features echoing Mom's but hardened by time. "I'm Carla," she said, stepping from shadows. "Your aunt. Not by blood, by choice. Your father saved me once." Aunt. The plot twisted sharper. Carla was Mom's best friend, the one who'd introduced her to Dad. But Marcus? He wasn't Mom's ex, he was Carla's brother, a volatile man who'd fixated on Mom after a brief fling, then on me as the daughter he never had. Twisted obsession, not protection. Dad's watchers were Marcus's attempts to infiltrate our lives, break-ins, anonymous calls. The sleep photos? Dad's countermeasure, taken with hidden cams to build a case, but fear paralyzed him from going public. He thought evidence would provoke him, Carla explained, voice breaking. Instead, it isolated William. When your mom left, it was to draw Marcus away, staging an abandonment to protect you. Heart-shattering, I saw it. Dad's distance wasn't coldness. It was a shield, every late night reviewing footage, every gift a distraction from dread. But the betrayal? He'd lied by omission, letting me grow up in a cage of silence. We talked for hours, rain pounding the roof. Carla showed her own scars, Marcus's violence, the restraining orders that failed. He's in prison now for another assault, but William never stopped fearing his release. Relief washed over me, mingled with grief for the father I'd misunderstood. Back home, I confronted Lena fully. "Why the secrets?" She wept. "We all protected you, from him, from the truth." Family meeting ensued. Cousins, distant relatives, spilling decades of cover-ups. Dad wasn't the villain. He was the hero who'd sacrificed normalcy for my safety. But the photos? A haunting reminder of lost innocence. Before we continue, we would like to thank all of you who support us by subscribing, liking, and sharing our content. The only appreciation we ask of you is that you subscribe, like, and share this video if you are not yet one of our subscribers. Thank you. The shocking twist came in Dad's final journal, unearthed from the safe's depths. Not just photos, but a letter to me, dated weeks before his death. "Sophie, if you find this, know I watched not to control, but to cherish. Marcus took your mother from me, won't take you. Burn these if you must, the love behind them endures." Attached, adoption papers. I wasn't Dad's biological daughter. Mom's fling with Marcus had conceived me. Dad knew, raised me anyway. His protection a father's fierce claim. Betrayal peaked. Conceived in violence, yet loved beyond blood. Rage at Mom's silence warred with awe at Dad's grace. Healing unfolded slowly. I visited Marcus in prison, not for forgiveness, but closure. His eyes eerily like mine, admitting the obsession. I wanted what she had. No remorse, but the face-to-face shattered his power. Therapy peeled layers. The raw fear of vulnerability. Dad's unspoken sacrifices. I burned the photos in the backyard fire pit, ashes scattering like released burdens. Lena became a bridge to Mom's memory. Letters, stories of her courage. Empowerment rose from the embers. Betrayal didn't define me. It forged resilience. I dated cautiously, built boundaries, honored Dad with a foundation in his name for stalking victims. Looking back, that safe's click was my awakening, from naive daughter to survivor. The photos, once creepy sentinels, became symbols of a love that endured shadows. Heartbreak lingers, a quiet ache for the normalcy stolen. But in acceptance, I reclaim my nights, sleeping soundly, eyes closed, not in ignorance, but peace. Sometimes the scariest revelations illuminate the deepest loyalties, whispering that true family watches over, not over us. Word count, Part 1, 1010, Part 2, 1015, total, 2025. 1. Video description. Unlocking my late father's safe to find intimate photos of me sleeping felt like stepping into a nightmare, turning cherished memories into a chilling mystery of protection and hidden horrors. This deeply personal confession explores a daughter's shattering discovery of her dad's secret surveillance. Not obsession, but a desperate shield against a stalker's shadow from her mother's past. From confronting family lies and unearthing a twisted lineage to facing the predator himself, it's a suspenseful rollercoaster of grief, rage, and revelation that uncovers how silence can both save and scar. Weaving raw emotional confessions with reflective insights on vulnerability, forgiveness, and unbreakable bonds, this story grips with its twists and empowers with its message of transforming betrayal into strength. Ideal for anyone who's questioned a parent's love or battled unseen threats in their own life. Subscribe now for more raw, real-life tales that blend heartbreak with hope and personal growth. What secrets have you uncovered from a loved one's past? Share in the comments, like if it hit close to home, and share this with someone who needs the inspiration.